Hi guys, my name is Evan, one of your mods from Littleroot Lessons, and I'm the lead coordinator for our multi-battle draft league. And this is the final week of the regular season, so we are doing a week 8 recap stream. Not only that, we're also going to talk about the matchups going forward in our playoffs, and that's going to be very exciting. Here with me, I have Kaizen. We are going like full circle because Kaizen and I did our power rankings way back in week 0. Yeah, say hi, Kaizen. How are
Yeah.
you doing?
Hi everyone. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening from wherever you are. It's very interesting that we're going full circle. We will be recapping what the tier list looks like now after all the results are in. So yeah, should be very interesting.
Yep, and we have quite a lot of things to cover because there are also going to be trades, and we're also going to give away some participation prizes to the teams that did not make top 8. One more thing I wanted to say was, Kaizen is sort of like a honorary member of my team. My team is called To Infernate and Beyond, and then I think Kaizen also like sort of learned a bit along the way because some of my teammates couldn't play, and then he subbed in to play like 2 matches of multi battles. So I think you have some experience in your belt now, right?
Now, compared to when I did the tier list, I had zero. I never even touched a multi-battle game before that.
Yeah, I think we're always I think it's and then the matches that we play were also very fun. So it's always cool to
Mm.
be in for a fun time. So um let's go through quickly what we're gonna do today. So the recap is gonna be lightning speed. I'm just gonna touch on our what happened in week 8 briefly. So a quick summary is that like week 8 matches were I felt like everybody just improved in general because there were 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 matches that were very close. Then it ended in a 1-0 differential or a 2-0 differential. So that is very impressive all around. Then, however, there were just like 2 matches that were kind of a sweep, and I think it's just maybe the matchup. Like there was one mon that was a wall that's very difficult to break, or there was just one tech um, from the winning team that did very well. Then next thing is a quick look at our kill leaderboards to segue to the next part, which is the participation prizes, because 2 of the prizes go to the top kill leaders, and that's quite exciting to see like your Pokemon do very well throughout these 8 weeks of regular season. Then we'll quickly talk about the trades that were made going into playoffs, and whereby the teams will be locked after that. And then lastly, we'll talk about the playoff brackets and the matchups. And yeah, I think the teams going into playoffs are really very strong, and like the competition can really go either way. Like, this is anyone's um, league to win. Yeah, Andrew, do you have anything else to say about our like what we're gonna go through?
Yeah, I think you've covered everything, and it'll be interesting to really talk about the playoffs. I think, again, as you said, that's going to be the highlight, and we want to be able to at least understand on paper what do these matchups look like, and what can we probably expect from each of the teams that are going to the playoffs.
Yeah, sounds good. Okay, so I'm gonna quickly talk about the week 8 matches right now. So this was game 1 against it was Malcolm, a sort of like good stuff's team against the Las Vegas Primarinas, the team that was 6-1 going into this match. And Primarinas were very strong. They only lost to the only other undefeated team then, which was Martin's Solrocks. Then this is a game of I don't remember actually what happened because I was in the Primarina stream and then they tried to record and then they sort of kicked their cable, so the recording couldn't go through. And all I know is that the Registeel got set up. I believe the Registeel Dynamax also, and then it just kept going for I just can't remember. I think either Volcanion or Registeel Dynamax. But then in the end, it was just a Registeel doing body press to win the game. And then Malcolm, even with the Arcanine, he couldn't do enough damage into the Registeel, especially when it was protected by Togetic in player 1 slot. Yeah. So overall, that's just what happened. The Las Vegas Primarinas are very sorry for not being able to produce a VOD. Yeah. Then a bit weird because Malcolm traded for Regigigas without even trading for Weezing. And then they tried going for, I believe it was a special Regigigas. And it didn't do that much damage, and especially when Registeel could wall the team. So after this, I'll go get like more information from the Primarinas. They don't seem to be awake. Then I'll update this tab in our spreadsheet. Okay, so next match, let me switch over to my spreadsheet. Next match is Tyrunts versus Puff Puff Pass. Yeah, this is also a VOD that's not recorded, and then based on the kills, we can see that Magearna and Metagross Dynamax. So this is like a battle of the steel types, and I think Magearna kind of got the upper hand. As long as the Magearna was able to kill Metagross's partners, then Magearna can always boost up with Soul Heart. So it looks like Magearna killed Fungus, Tapu Fini, and Mimikyu. Yeah, that's quite obvious. Well, Bronzong managed to kill Metagross. That's impressive. I think maybe they went for Max Steel Spike plus Body Press with Bronzong. Yeah, that seems very strong. And then also, I think Runerigus might be the only answer to try and snipe Magearna as quick as possible. Maybe even Metagross with Max Quick, but it seems like it wasn't enough for Puff Puff Pass. And this is one of the games that were very close. Okay, before I move on, I must remember to talk about everybody's nicknames. So Malcolm's nicknames are always very weird. Yeah, I don't vibe with them. I don't really understand. So maybe next time I'll try and figure out. And then Primarinas, they were hungry, so this is all tacos. Yeah, shoutouts to Asada here. Right,
yeah,
these are tacos,
tacos. Yeah.
And then apparently they said like Pescado really fits Volcanion. I'm not sure why. Oh no, obviously. Yeah, I'm not sure why Pescado really fits Volcanion. Because I don't know any of these tacos. I don't really eat tacos. And then Tyrants have their usual nicknames throughout the league. And then Puff as well. Some of the names are very cute. Their Mimikyu's nicknames always change. Okay, so quickly moving on to game 3. This was Xerneas, Mamma Mia versus Pokepels. Xerneas was 6-1 going into this. Then Pokepels led with Whimsicott Latios into Persian and Garchomp, and then they couldn't go for Wyrmwind into the Garchomp, right? So they went for Max Flare. What a ballsy play, calling a Ninetales switch. So for the 3 turns of Latios' Dynamax, Xerneas Mamma Mia really needed to switch well to conserve their mons, and more importantly conserve the Regirock and Buzzwole for the Regirock to Dynamax in the late game to take important KOs. And then in the end it was quite an iffy end game because Pokepels managed to Dynamic Punch with their Golub into Buzzwole. So Buzzwole is confused, but then Buzzwole in the end it didn't get confused, and then it took the important KOs to kill the game. So we can see that Buzzwole killed Darmanitan that was locked into Brick Break, so it couldn't do much into Buzzwole, and then it finally killed Golub to win the game. So this was a very iffy, very back and forth, and I think well played and well prepped on both ends. Very daring for Pokepels to Dynamax the Latios straight away, go fast and hit hard. It was quite impressive. And Xerneas Mamma Mia were really caught off guard. Yeah. Do you have any notes?
I just want to add that the Darmanitan locking itself into Brick Break instead of Ice Punch might have cost them the game because they doubled into the Regirock with Brick Break and Dynamic Punch from Golurk. I feel like you would have still gotten the KO if you used Ice Punch plus Dynamic Punch, and then Ice Punch is just safer for whatever's at the back. I mean, the other option was probably Lantern, but then the Golurk hopefully could deal with the Lantern. If it was Buzzwole, then you just auto lose. I mean, perhaps they didn't expect the Buzzwole to have a way to deal with the Golurk. That's the only other way that I see them thinking about it.
No wonder. Yeah, so at that point they had to choose a move to lock into, and then unfortunately they
didn't know what was at the back.
I see. And then also like Xerneas actually had interesting prep because the Ninetales went for Baby Doll Eyes, so maybe that -1 could have mattered, but we won't know. I think Ice Punch makes sense on hindsight because it does neutral into the Buzzwole, right?
Yeah.
Let's see. Oh, Baptiste is saying Puff Puff Pass had 5 differently EV Mimikyus, and that's why they were all weird names. I see. The Mimikyu's names are super weird. Okay, yep, cool. So, congrats to Xerneas for this win, and I think this kind of like if Pokepals were to win this match, they would have been 4-4, and I think it would have been a pretty close race to getting into top 4 for the group, for this Rose group. Yeah, however, it went in Xerneas' way. Their mons were they kind of managed the end game well. Then they sort of were the gatekeepers for Pokepals, and unfortunately Pokepals couldn't go through. Oh, Milmat, you just missed your match.
You missed the entire recap for your match.
Yeah, because he was like they were shell shocked when the Latios straight up went for Max Flare into the Garchomp.
I can still remember Martin's face after the Max Flare went into the Ninetales.
Very good, very ballsy call. Yeah, I really believe that there was no foul play involved. Like there's definitely no stream sniping. It was just a read that they followed their gut to do, and they went forward with it. Then so Pokepals told me that these nicknames are something that's
they're from the Mamma Mia movie.
Yeah,
they're the characters
right.
from
Something that's got to do with Mamma Mia. Okay, then these are just like some references from local VGC events. Yeah, I have no idea because I didn't join events last year, so I have no idea what the Mamma Mia people are doing. So yeah, and also good job to
apparently it's from Friends. They're quotes from Friends.
Okay.
The series Friends.
Oh, that's so cool. That's interesting. Okay, so let's quickly brush through these nicknames. They did it on purpose. This was a joke. So yeah, very funny. So now let's talk about Game 4. Also a match that's very down to the wire and pretty well managed on both ends. So and this is also the battle of the dads, because the last buffet has 2 dads, Baodat and his brother, and then Omaha Omanytes also. Lemmy is a dad, and his friends are all sort of the same age. So it's quite interesting to see both these teams finally going up against each other in week 8. So this was straight up Lopunny, Solgaleo, brutal swing, and then use Solgaleo to do as much damage as possible, because Rockfall does good damage into Thunderous, even Landorus, and it cannot be intimidated. Then Omaha Omanytes needed to... Wait a sec, the Solgaleo didn't have Rockfall.
It did.
It did?
It did.
Yeah, but then they didn't Rockfall into the Volcarona.
No, so they...
Oh yeah, I remember they finally prepped Rockfall. Yeah.
They did. They used Rockfall to get 1 KO. And on their last turn, it was an interesting decision to not max guard. I remember Bardat and JD were talking about it. Like they're really deciding, okay, no, we're probably gonna max guard here. And then last second, they made a call to not do it. That was very interesting. Could have potentially worked out for them. But I guess in hindsight, everything's 2020 in hindsight. But I was just thinking that the Omanytes would certainly just go into that slot anyway, even if there's a possibility that they would max guard, because Solgaleo is just that much of a threat to Volcarona that you can't ignore it. Like you can't risk flaring something else and then taking a Rockfall in return. So they would be very happy to make the trade into the max guard and burn that last turn from Solgaleo, and then Volcarona gets 1 more turn of max. But I would say shout out to the last buffet. They made a really good call to save Lopunny.
Yep.
They switched it out at some point, and when they brought it back in with the Suicune, I think the game was essentially sealed when Lopunny could get the fake out and then Suicune set up the Tailwind. Once the Tailwind was set up, then it was pretty much over, I think.
Yeah, I think that Tailwind really saved the game, because the Volcarona, we found out that it was locked into Scarf. So as long as you outspeed the Volcarona, then I think it was Suicune, right? It was able to clean up the game. Yay! Wow, so nice to see Lemmy, Balder, and JD all in chat. Yeah. So yeah, that max guard was a read, and I think Omanytes really had to max their Volcarona, and this is a like spoiler alert that the Volcarona, you see, look at this Volcarona taking 4 kills, right? It's been really doing super well, dominating our multi-battle league. Most of the time with Dynamax, but like I also want to like sort of talk about Series 10, right? Where we see Volcarona on the rise because it's able to resist moves from Zacian. Then this might be like a sneak peek into how Volcarona can do well, because in our multi-battle format we do alternating Dynamax, and at the same time after Dynamax ends it's more of like a positioning war, right? And then yeah, coming in like with a Scarf Volcarona, I think that's so like interesting from the Omanyte side, and we can really see the Volcarona performing very well. Yeah. Any last notes for this match, Kaizen?
Nope. I think I've said what I
Okay.
need to say about
So that's
this
all
close
for
game.
yeah. And I think Omanytes managed to save the Volcarona, right? Like they switched it out.
Yeah, it was the last. It was no, I don't think
Oh,
they
they
switched it out. It
didn't.
was just the last to fall. Yeah.
Yeah, I see. Then for Rose Group, so the teams that won were Primarinas. This wasn't their win and in. Like they just sealed the top spot, the number 1 seed, which is quite important actually to them. And then Tyrunts won. However, Puff played very hard to maintain the differential, to make sure that they make it into playoffs instead of Omanytes, if I'm not wrong. Yeah. So although Tyrants won, Puff made it into playoffs, very smartly conserving the differential. Then Xerneas won, and then Last Buffet won. However, and he also sealed the deal to like put Omanytes further back. Yeah, allowing Puff to make it through. So that's all for the Rose group. So now matches are from the Peony group, and this is our match. I think the STARBOYS were just caught off guard with like maybe physical Victini with Surf from Sneasel, because they sort of did their research, and then our team, we always like to lead Sneasel, and we always like to fake tears. However, this week you can see our Sneasel's nickname. It's a bit lame. We're saving our tears. So we didn't go for like special attackers. We went for mostly physical attackers. And then like Dynamax Victini was fast and strong enough to sort of sweep the game. We went for Max Flare into Cofagrigus, Max Lightning from Wild Charge into Blastoise, and then followed by like a V Create into Luxray, taking out the player 2 slot easily. And then we just had to sack Victini to get Dracovish in, and then we helping hand Fishes Ren into the player 1 slot. Yeah. And
Yeah, we realized it could have been quite risky if the Blastoise was slower than the Victini. Imagine if the Max Lightning went into the Blastoise and then it survives on its sash and then it hits back with a torrent boosted Hydro Cannon. That would have been really bad. But you made a good call to make the Victini bulky and slow. So the Blastoise ended up moving before the Victini. So yeah, it was, I guess, a bit of luck on our part that that's how it played out.
yeah, I felt like it's sometimes maybe it's just our prep sort of gelling together, when it comes to the match. So I feel like this 8-0, it wasn't like very clean, it wasn't very smooth. Most of the time we just made better reads and better calls. Like I put a weakness policy on the Victini one day, and then they just happened to use Cinderace to sucker punch the Victini, you see. So I feel like things might be very, very different going forward into playoffs where things are best of 3. So we can't like use surprises anymore, because these surprises will be found out in game 1, and then we really still have to work hard to secure the game 2 to win the week, right?
Yeah, very true.
But yeah, I think low-key we managed to get 8-0. We were the only team that's undefeated in this regular season, and we hope to try and keep it up. Because it's really, once you lose, you're out, right? So there's no going back. That's all. So STARBOYS nicknames are pop singers, and I love our nicknames because our nicknames are STARBOYS themed. These are songs from the weekend, and the weekend's good. Okay. Next one, Celebi versus Shellder. NJ recorded this on his Switch Lite, so I really I really want to thank NJ for doing this and being so consistent. Really appreciate it. And Feebas came. Yeah, that's one interesting thing about this match. They maxed Palkia early, and then Shellder maxed the Groudon late. And it's always like this weather war, right? Saving your Groudon for Sun, and then using Palkia to go for Geyser to maybe protect some of your mons. I think Shellder did very well, leading with Groudon and Leafeon, and then the Leafeon being naturally fast and actually very offensive. I think he has the same attack stat as like Urshifu, then always going fast and doing a lot of damage. It was very difficult for like mons like Rotom Frost, and even, was it Kangaskhan? No, he only killed Rotom Frost. Yeah, but at the same time, the Groudon was also always able to go for like Precipice Blades, right? Yeah, but that's because Celebi didn't lead with the Palkia to put on immediate pressure. They didn't want to keep the Palkia in Sun.
Yeah. Actually, I noted that as you mentioned, they maxed Palkia early. I think it was a good way to kind of claw back the momentum after the first few turns.
Mm-hmm.
Like the first turn they missed. They had a double miss on the Blizzard from Rotom.
Yeah, it was in Sun.
It was in Sun.
50%.
Could have like even just getting at least one, maybe on the Groudon or the Leafeon, the chip would have been super useful. And then they tried to claw back by maxing the Palkia. There was one turn where I think it was the second turn of Max. They used Max Guard and Palkia so that they could switch the player 2 slot, get the Feebas in, and then Hypnosis
into Articuno.
I think it was the Articuno to prevent the Freeze Dry. So I feel like they were really, really scared of the Freeze Dry and they really tried to play around that. But I think the switches, the guard, like I'm not really sure like what the calcs are, but I think getting an extra KO somewhere might have helped them, especially since this game went to timer.
Makes sense.
So I'm not really sure how else it could have happened. I don't remember all the details, but there were a few turns where they ended up not doing too much damage, which cost them I think it was the last turn where they needed to survive an attack from the Groudon, but they couldn't anymore. So that was very unfortunate.
Yeah, and I think this match is kind of for seeding because I think both teams have like very impressive performances all through regular season. So this match, if Shellder won, there's a chance that Shellder won, but then Celebi had the higher win-loss ratio.
Yeah.
So in the end, they both sort of tied even, and then Celebi is above Shellder in terms of differential, right? Yeah, I think we'll check later. Then
would have also affected the Yampers, I think, if Shellder lost.
Oh, that's true. Yeah, so the things played out this way, and then I think Celebi is really happy that like no matter what the outcome, they were able to bring their Feebas, and the Feebas actually outspeeds Eleki in rain. So he managed to get the hypnosis off, and it worked. Yeah, pretty.
It survived the Electro Web from Eleki without using up its sash. That was so funny.
Oh yes, yeah. That sounds pretty nutty. That's impressive.
No one can complain that Eleki is OP because it can't even hit Feebas or Oko Feebas.
Yeah, that's true.
Tisk.
Do you guys know what Shellder's nicknames are? Are these like Super Smash Brothers?
Oh, there's Smash. Yeah, there's Smash characters.
Nice. And then Celebi is all about their fish. So good job to the Feebas. And they're still not trading the Feebas away. Both these teams are in playoffs, and Feebas is coming into playoffs. That's really impressive. So yeah, let's hope to see like fun stuff. Especially in the best of 3 environment. I think Celebi are really in for the fun, and I really appreciate it. This is so nice to see. Yeah, so let's go on to the last match really quickly. Oh yeah. This match, we're still waiting on In Space's VOD. And it was like a colossal team with Toko Vinu, right? Against Charizard Melstick. I think Yampers
No
did.
Tarkle. No Tarkle.
Oh no,
Just
Toko.
Vinu.
Yeah, just Vinu, Dragonite. Yeah, Vinu, Dragonite, Colossal. Yeah, maybe Yampers did something like setting up the rain, because Yampers also had like Glastrier, you know. So
And Mantine for the rain.
yeah. So we'll wait for In Space's VOD. He says he'll do it later tonight in UK time, and yeah, I'm excited to see the match. But however, unfortunately, these two teams didn't make it into playoffs. Yampers lost, like they because they had a very low differential going into this week, and see, although they are 5 and 3, they lost the positioning due to
So
due
they
to
lost because Shellder
differential.
lost.
Yeah.
Oh no, sorry. Because Shellder won, then they make it.
Yeah. Yep. Man, that's super close for the Yampers though. Yeah, they didn't really have a very lucky run apparently. Because against our team, against the Infernapes, they really weren't lucky. And then there was one more matchup that Spec said that they could have won also. Okay, this looks more correct, right? Yeah. So even though they are at -3 differential, they're actually higher in terms of position. And because of the differential, they couldn't squeeze into the top 4. So, do you have anything else to add, Andrew?
Nope.
Okay, so yeah, really quickly, the first seed is Primarinas, and then yeah, you guys can see it here. The 8 teams that made it into playoffs, and then we'll talk about the bracket later. But yeah, just congratulations to all of us. After this, we're gonna do the participation prize giveaway. So before that, we're gonna talk about the kill leaders, because two of our 4 prizes are going to the kill leaders that didn't make it into playoffs. So over here we have Volcarona with 15 kills, tied with Registeel, which is very impressive for Registeel actually. Yeah, so the Primarinas have been really using Registeel to its advantage. The league that I'm closely following and mirroring, the multi-battle conference, played by players in the SoCal area. The recent season, I think it was season 5, just ended, and Registeel won the first place as well. So this might be sort of like good news for the Registeel team. Then I'm gonna quickly note down the teams that didn't make it. Yeah, so these are the kill leaders. Yep, so Omanytes, Last Buffet, Texas Tyrunts, and Pokepals. So these mons are in for the running for these participation prizes. Yeah. Then you guys can check out the leaderboards by yourself. I'm gonna update it in the next 2 or 3 days, because once the trades are made, I didn't take into account. So the mons are mixed up. So some of the kills will be passed to the mons that were traded. Yeah, so I still need to manually adjust them, which is quite tedious. Then let's jump to the slides. Cool. So here you can see we did the first 2 points. And then now let's move on to the participation prizes. Hype. Yeah, Mario got I think 5 or 6 kills. Yeah, you guys can check it out yourselves. So these are the awards that we mentioned all the way at the beginning. So throwback to my tutorial slides. Andrew, do you have anything to say? What do you?
Oh, no, go ahead, go ahead.
Okay. So these are the prizes: the top 4 kill leader. The top kill leader, second, and then most improved team and most creative nicknames. So just now you all saw that it was like Volcrona followed by the Solgaleo, but I think we did a bit of change up. Like I discussed with the council, and here are the prizes. So the top kill leader is definitely Volcrona. So congratulations to Omanytes. These 4 teams are all gonna get 10 USD back, and I will transfer this money to you guys after this stream. I really wanted to do it before the stream, but I didn't have time. Yeah. So second one will be Magiana. So Magiana got 9 kills and was tied with Darmanitan from Pokepals. Yeah, so we're giving it to Magiana. So congrats to the Texas Tyrunts. Shoutouts to you guys also for, you know, at the beginning of the league, like trying our best to stream, even though you guys were very busy with school. That's what I understood. So yeah, thanks for participating. Man, I'm on my slides and I can't see chat. Okay, the next one is gonna be fun.
Chat.
Yeah, I'm gonna skip like back and forth. But the next one's gonna be fun. The most improved team. Drum roll. This was community voted. So majority of the votes went to the last buffet. So congrats to Powerdet and JD. And here's the interesting slides that I mentioned. So this was the week where they they maxed their Insane. Starmie went for Surf, and then the Insane killed the Metagross upon switching with Max Darkness. But once Metagross went down, Mario came in. Yeah, and Mario, like Bepis is saying, Mario is pop. Mario managed to sing the Insane and totally negate their, you know, like their dynamics, like all the momentum they got with these dynamics. And then Baodet made a TikTok out of this. Very fun.
Oh.
These are fun times. Man, look at his face.
that's a face, you know, when you played too much VGC for one day.
Yeah, gonna get roasted. All around, okay, all around congratulations in chat. Yeah, nice.
Congratulations, yeah.
Okay, so last one will be the best nicknames, most creative nicknames, and on hindsight, most consistent nicknames as well, for the teams that didn't make playoffs. So this goes to Pokepals. Yeah, thanks for your participation, Guard and Alex. There was one week you guys named your mons Duck, and then Goose because you wanted Golurk to Dynamax. But in the end, I think you guys didn't even Dynamax to win this game. Then, and this was also the week where Martin Solrocks named all their mons Shuckle. But then you guys did it first, so props to you guys. And I really enjoy like covering all the like nicknames every week because this sort of adds a little fun into our league, and it's also always fun for the whole community. Then lastly, I mentioned this before in one of my recaps. Yeah, since the start, Guard and Alex both had matching trainer cards, and this is one example where they both face each other. Yeah, so cool. I really wonder, right, if Guard and Alex like purposely arrange your player 1 and player 2 slots to do this, because there was one week they both faced opposite, like they both faced away from each other. So overall, congrats to everybody. Yeah.
Congratulations.
And also, yeah, just to the rest of the teams that didn't get prizes, I really appreciate everybody getting all your matches in time because we really managed to play everything in almost 8 weeks. We just extended the buffer week because yesterday was Independence Day. Then, yeah, and I think we had, I did the math, I think it was 62 matches played in total. So that's very impressive from 20 teams, 50 of us, 50 players. Yeah, 50 odd. So yeah, that concludes the regular season. And as an organizer, I really want to thank everybody from the bottom of my heart. Yeah. Very happy that my small project managed to come into fruition. Okay, so with that, we are gonna quickly, like, I added in this slide um, to see how well we did, right? Back in week 0 when we did power rankings, and I would say it's not too bad. Like, some teams we sort of underestimated, and then some teams we definitely nailed it, and they really proved themselves to be very terrifying. Like Galarian Rapidazz, Las Vegas Primarinas, Xerneas, all having very good win-loss records. Yeah. I'll pass it on to you.
I think
What do you have to say?
I think some hits and misses, I guess, and definitely we saw, let's say for Martin Solrock and Shellder, we probably just really underestimated their combos. I noted earlier that I think with Martin Solrock, I remember my impression was that there wasn't anything too flashy, but then they were really able to kind of use the tools that they had in their team to do well. And then with Shellder, we had some doubts about Eleki, Moltres, and Groudon, and I guess in hindsight, like, why would we say that? They're really, really strong Pokemon. So
Yes, yeah.
it makes sense that they ended up doing well.
I remember
And then for
maybe we said like it was sort of top heavy, and that like maybe Eleki and Groudon could be sort of easily counted. However, yeah, it wasn't the case, right? Like it really performed well.
And I think for the Infernapes, it's just, I guess it's similar. The chat is saying Evan underappreciating his own team, but also I think in terms of explosiveness, it's like what you look for on paper.
Correct.
It's not that flashy, but then um, having being part of some of the prep, there are just really a lot of tools and options that you can use with some of the Pokemon that were drafted. So that made the value of these Pokemon a lot higher than, I guess, what's initially seen on paper.
True. And yeah, I think our team is sort of pretty similar to Martin Solrock. It does seem pretty unassuming. However, all the mons in our roster have a lot of tools. And then even Martin Solrock, you can see like them bringing mons like Licky Licky. And then for us, we bring our C tier mons pretty often, like Skarmory and even Credivi. So this goes to show that in a draft league, I feel like sometimes mons that do one particular thing very well might not be too hot in a draft league. So we're always looking for mons that can do multiple things well. Like you won't expect what that mon can do. Especially in team preview, right? Then when it comes to the battle, it comes with like a special tag, and then that catches you off guard. I think one example might be our Credivi. One week we just Dynamaxed and then went full offensive, and then some other weeks we went for like Leech Seed with substitute. So these are sets that are quite unpredictable and they are quite polar. So seems to be quite hard to sort of prep for or manage when it comes to the game time itself. Curious how many games went to timer. Wow, damn! I want to go. I'm also curious. That's interesting. And then per team, I felt like it seems to be a series of like unfortunate events and I think just misjudgment and not maybe just didn't prep for the correct stuff. Yeah, especially when our regular season is best of 1, so things can really go either way, and I think it just didn't go in Mr. Totera White's favor. Yeah, although the team seemed very terrifying on paper, it might also be the case of like these mons do one particular thing very well, right? But then in the end couldn't gel together. Like they didn't really use their Gotitel, Primarina, Celesteela and Cinderace to very very good effect. So quite unfortunate to see. Yeah. Okay, let's move on. So before we talk about the bracket, we're gonna talk about the trades made. 7 teams made trades. I wonder who didn't make a trade, who was like too busy to even think of trying to improve their team. So this is in order of this is in order of standings. So the teams that have a poorer performance, they are given priority. There was I think 2 cases that um, gave like the teams with lower priority the traits that they really wanted. So let's talk about the first one. Puff Puff Pass is trading their Latias into Raikou. I think good. Like both mons have sort of similar tools in terms of damage reduction and somehow speed control. And then what's important is that Puff Puff Pass is trading away one more ghost and dark weakness, and then picking up one more ground weak. Yeah. What do you think, Andrew?
Yeah, I do want to add though. I think it's a overall. I think it's a smart trade. Even with the ground weakness, Raikou is a faster bulldoze user, and notably it ties with Sneasel from Infernapes.
Mm-hmm.
And I think in general, Raikou is probably just harder for the Infernapes to deal with, which is Puff Puff Pass's first round opponent in playoffs. So I think it's a smart trade. You know, if you think about Latias, Sneasel's faster, can slow it down. So I think they wanted a safer option with Raikou. And also, Latias gets faked out by Sneasel. So
True.
I think Raikou is a very smart pickup from them.
Yeah, sounds really good. So next up will be Shellder trading Cherim into Meowstick. And then throughout the whole 8 weeks of regular season, Shellder only brought Cherim once. So I think it might be like a good like sort of decision based on their experience. Because maybe they couldn't pull off this Cherim with Flower Gift combo that often, especially when Cherim, Groudon, and Leafeon are all weak to ice. And then picking up the Meowstick, I really like this pickup because you have a competitive user that is relatively fast, and that sort of protects Groudons from Intimidate. Yeah.
I was actually wondering why Meowstick out of all Pokemon, as you said, it has competitive. That's nice, but I don't really quite see a lot of Intimidates on their side of the bracket. So
Oh yeah.
I'm wondering whether they had other plans for the Meowstick. But you're right.
Yeah, go ahead.
I think the Cherrim on paper just sounded like it had good synergy, but if they were only able to bring it once, it probably just felt like a bit of a dead weight, and so they needed something that would probably do a bit more damage or something.
Yeah. Oh my, team is back with the stats. 23 games went to timer. I think this is based on the scores, right? Because I think more games actually went to timer, even though they go to like 1-0, or even in our case, there was a game we went like 3-0 and it still went to timer. Cool. Yeah, because I know total games were 62, so I don't think like I think 23 is still a very small number. Yeah. Then I also think that maybe Meowstick can help in terms of fake out, but then again, it's a pure psychic type, so and it's also not that offensive. So let's see how Shellder manages to use this Meowstick. Next up will be Celebi trading both Ludicolo and Chinchino. Ludicolo into Riolu. Riolu was actually from Yellowstone Yampers, and they gave up Riolu pretty early in this regular season. And then I like the Chinchino into the Buffalon pick, because Buffalon has Sap Sipper. It's pretty strong and bulky, and then it pairs well with Comfy. Yeah, and then notably the Ludicolo was Torracat. So not sure why Celebi kept trading away that slot. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But Riolu certainly seems scary and useful to the Celebi in the future matches, right?
Yeah, overall, I think it's a good trade for them. Based on how their last match played out, like I commented that sometimes they weren't doing enough damage, and having something like Buffalo is it's a lot more offensive than some of the other Pokemon that they have. Could also be a viable max option actually, compared to let's say Kangaskhan, who I don't think they expect to max. And then Riolu's support options are, I would say, they're support options, but they're offensive support options. So you either set the rain for Palkia to do more damage, you do coaching, you help set up Trick Room with Copycat. It helps them maintain the momentum. So I think it's really good for them.
Nice, that sounds super interesting. And then one last thing to note is that throughout 8 weeks of the 8 weeks of regular season, Celebi totally didn't bring their Chinchino. I think they just couldn't find like a way to bring it. See, they have Kangaskhan and it's already a pure normal type. And then I think they really found it difficult to really make use of this Chinchino, and I really like this trait into Buffalon. So next up would be Rapidazz, Galarian Rapidazz. The team that I think Rapidazz and Xerneas Mamma Mia tied for the most number of trades made. I think it was 6 each. Yeah. Okay. I should have noted down all these stats. So they're trading Urshifu Rapid into Urshifu Single. And then back in week 6, it was Malcolm that traded away their Urshifu Single into Regigigas. But cause then this Urshifu Single goes to Rapidazz, cause I think Xerneas also wanted to pick up Urshifu Single. However, Rapidazz had a weaker win-loss record, so they pick up this Urshifu cause of priority. Then one more is the Shinotic trading into Rotom Fan. That's interesting. I think maybe like Rapidazz team looked at the teams in playoffs and they think maybe going Trick Room might not be what they want. Yeah, so not sure about this Shinotic into Rotom's swap.
But the Urshifu swap is really smart, I think. If you just look at their first round opponent in the playoffs, so the Dark Urshifu fares so much better into Martin Solrock. They have Spectre, Rillaboom, Gastrodon. These you'd rather have Dark Urshifu over Water Urshifu against those three anytime. And then later on, if they win that match, they will face winner of Infernapes versus Puff Puff Pass. You don't want Water Urshifu into, let's say, Zapdos and Cradily from Infernapes. And then Puff Puff Pass has Metagross. So, or even, it's Metagross and Mimikyu. So I think the Dark Urshifu just does really well into at least the Metagross.
Yeah, I feel like this is a very strategic trade, and I would say very well played from the Rapidazz end. They are certainly in it to win it. Would have taken Dark if Malcolm gave it up earlier. Yeah.
Oh, they really wanted the Dark one from the start, I see.
Okay. So, interesting how Rapidazz's team transformed. I will show it to you guys later. But, back in the day they had Zacian, they had Politoed Kingdra, and it's all gone. So their new lineup, it plays very differently, and it's certainly as scary as before. So next up would be Martin Solrock trading their Xatu away into Rapidash, the Kanto version. And I'm trying to recall, I think Xatu only came 1 out of 8 weeks throughout regular season. Therefore, this might be due to experience. I think Xatu sort of had a lot of similar weaknesses to the rest of their team, and they don't bring Xatu often. So switching into another horse, another fast, hard-hitting horse, I think that's something that they found value in. I think this might be helpful to them, especially picking up that fire type to complete the fire water grass core.
Yeah, so it's interesting that they now have a fire type. I think that's really useful for them. But I guess overall maybe they just didn't get the speed control that they needed from Xatu because they had other forms of speed control. So probably better to just get another way to deal more damage in Rapidash.
Yeah, sad to see though, because I used Xatu once in a previous draft league, and I tried to Dynamax it. It was quite fun. Yeah, because the special attack is actually not too bad. Like at least it has a higher special attack than Lapras, so Like it's okay, Dynamaxing, and then Magic Bounce also quite interesting. But let's see how Martin Solrocks can perform with this new horse. The horse that can also Will-O-Wisp. So last two teams, the Xerneas, trading away their Zapdos. They only took Zapdos for like 2 weeks, and then they traded it away into Snorlax. And because of the difference in tiers, they had to trade away their Regirock to pick up Slowbro. Two very very bulky. I mean, I guess the mons are equally bulky. However, Snorlax and Slowbro are definitely slower and sort of present a more interesting trick room option for Xerneas. So hopefully this works out for them. Yeah, what do you think?
Yeah, I feel like it was probably a strategic trade from them as well. They now have a trick room mode. They let go of Regirock, which I think was smart because it's hard to bring Regirock into Palkia, which is their first round matchup,
True.
and then later on, they would go up against either Volcanion or Groudon. So I guess letting go of Regirock made sense.
That makes sense. That's so good. Yeah, I think improving your team for the environment. Yeah, very well played. Then lastly, Las Vegas Primarinas. This is their first trade in the whole season, and they're trading away their Cottony. Uh, they brought Cottony like once, I think. Yeah, so it's also sort of like based on experience, right? Based on their usage, they're trying to improve their team by kicking out the weakest link. Double check. Yeah, I think they only brought Cottony once. So trading the Cottony into Walrein, adding another water type, but I think Walrein has like thick fat, so maybe they really wanted to try and do something with it. I can also see like Togetic going for Follow Me, and then Walrein going for Belly Drum. Because Walrein is
Oh yeah, that's
quite,
scary.
yeah, so it's quite interesting. I think this seems like a fun trade, and hopefully this works out for the Primarinas.
And as you were saying, right, it's good to have Pokemon that can do a lot of different things. So Walrein is one of those. Has a lot of support options, but as you said, can also do Belly Drum to be offensive. So it's it presents a lot of mind games, I guess, for their opponents.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that'll be fun. It makes their team seem like way bulkier, and I think like they have good support options in the form of sort of like Dragapult, Zeraora, Togetic. So in that, I think they don't really this maybe in their from their shoes they feel like they don't really need this additional support from a prankster mon. And then
Mm-hmm.
Cottony always, it goes down to 2 hits, right, at most. So picking up someone that's bulky and can also present offensive pressure might also be interesting for the Primarinas. Nice. That's all. So those are the trades, and yeah, we did this all in 1 hour. I think in the next half an hour we can quickly go through the matchups, because this is the most interesting thing, right, going forward. Looking forward to our playoff matches.
Mm-hmm.
So this is the bracket. The first seed and fourth seed will be going up against each other, right? And they are always on both sides, like on separate sides. And then naturally the second seed goes up against the third seed, and then they are all put below. So yeah, I'm very proud of this like bracket, and I really like showing like a snapshot of each team's mons to sort of like show what they did in the regular season, and then what they can do going forward. Because these are the mons based on usage stats. So these are the mons that are either the most notable, or for most of our team's cases, the most broad mons. Like you can see our team Infernapes, not gonna lie, we are always bringing like a fire water grass core, and it really shows over here. Then Primarinas are always leading very fast with good support from Togetic, yeah, and so on and so forth. Then interestingly, Shellder always brings Oranguru as a support option instead of Eleki, and I think that's pretty unique. And then Xerneas also a team that looks like misfits. Yeah, some of our team really look like misfits. Whereas Celebi Rapidazz and Primarinas, and Shellder also, they look like they don't want to mess around because their mons are just very very strong, right? Very bulky and oppressive. Yeah. So, okay, without further ado, let's talk about the first out of 4 matchups. So this would be the Primarinas versus Shellder. And quick notes, Primarinas, like their path to getting to this current lineup would be the Cottony trading into Walrein, whereas for Shellder it was just Cherim trading into Meowstic Female. So only one trade for both teams. So this is how the final matchup looks like. Okay, now Andrew, I will need your help with the notes.
Sure. So just looking at my notes, on paper, I think the star of the Shelder's team, which is Groudon, looks really good versus what I would say the big 4 of the Primarinas: Zeraora, Dragapult, Terrakion, Volcanion. If Shelder's maintains speed control, Groudon looks really good into at least 3 out of the 4. And then, however, the Primarinas do have a bulkier and I would say more disruptive supporting cast. So Swampert, Registeel, Togetic, Walrein, and I mean Registeel is actually also one of the kill leaders, right? So you really can't underestimate Registeel. And if Registeel is able to set up, then not even Groudon can go through it. So I think for the Primarinas, the key for them in this matchup, at least what I would expect them to be looking for, is to find ways to neutralize Groudon. There are many ways to do that. Attack drops, burns, maintaining speed control, especially because Groudon is, at least in terms of base speed, faster than Volcanion. And Registeel still looks really good in this matchup if they're able to set it up. So if I remember, it was against Shellder when Skarmory also did a lot of work.
True.
As long as they can do something similar with Registeel, it will be difficult for Shellder to take it out. But on the other side, for Shellder, their goal is to really position Groudon well to take timely KOs. I think being trigger happy with a Dynamax is not good, especially because you have things like Togetic that can cause problems with its redirection and its typing. But they also need to optimize the damage output from their supporting cast. So they have a slightly more offensive supporting cast. You have things like Moltres, Leafeon, now Meowstic as well. Even Regieleki, if you can consider it as a supporting cast. They have to be able to dish out good damage to the supporting Pokemon of Primarinas to be able to help Groudon. So it's really a positioning-based game. Let's say you want to take out Swampert with Leafeon. You want to take out Togetic with Regieleki. You want to leave Turtonator versus Registeel in the end game. It's really complicated, and they have to navigate that very carefully and find ways to understand what tools the Primarinas have in a best of 3 so that they can win in the end.
Nice. I think the Primarinas will really have a run for their money because based on my observations, Shelders, throughout these 8 weeks of regular season, I believe, right, they haven't Dynamax on turn 1 before. They always play very patient, make sure they get into a good position and then Dynamax something that's very important like Groudon. They haven't Dynamax their Eleki yet, so that might be interesting to see. Then they're really very patient, trying to like set up screens with Oranguru at the beginning. So I think in this like best of 3 format of playoffs, things are really gonna get interesting. I feel like it really can go either way.
I agree.
Nice. That's very succinct. Well done. That was good.
Thanks.
So next one will be Xerneas, Mamma Mia versus Celebi, our both Asian teams, right? And then so I included all these little snippets of what happened during their trades. So to get to this lineup, like finally Xerneas picked up an S tier for their team, Snorlax. So they started with Entei and Weezing Kanto, and then they couldn't like find a way to squeeze in Regigigas, so traded the Weezing away, picking up Rotom and Braviary, a Defiant Mon, swapping the Braviary into Zapdos Galar, and then finally swapping into like Snorlax Slowbro. Then what's also interesting is that initially they had like a Sceptile mode that with Unburden, and then they slowly traded their Zapdos away into Mandibuzz, and then now finally Mandibuzz is on this team. I think Mandibuzz have been helping the team a lot, together with like Persian, both very bulky, very good disruptors. And then it seems like Rotom Heat is here to stay. Like they chose Rotom Heat over Entei. It's been performing pretty well in recent matches. For Celebi's side, they always swap their Torracat slot, so yeah, it'll be interesting to see how well this Riolu can do, because they swap Torracat into Ludicolo into Riolu. And then finally, I think the Chinchino swap was one of their best trades so far. Chinchino into the Buffalon, like pairing well with Comfy. And then one last thing to note is that the Feebas stayed on the team throughout the whole league, and I really appreciate that. Like, it seems like the Celebis are in for the fun. Okay, I'll pass it on to you.
Okay, yeah. So first thing I noted was that the star of Xerneas Mamamia, which is Garchomp, will struggle versus Celebi's star, which is Palkia. And interestingly enough, if you look at these trades from the XMM side, they traded some of the raw power, so they let go of Regirock, Entei, Sceptile, Zapdos, for a bulkier supporting cast, while, like what I mentioned earlier, the Celebis have traded up for more aggressive options. So interesting to see the kind of difference in trades that the two teams have done. I think for XMM, they need to find multiple ways to deal with Palkia. In a best of 3, you can probably expect that Palkia will still be the center of the offense from the Celebi side. So if you only have one way to deal with it, it can be exploited and then you lose the next 2 games. So there are multiple ways to do that, to either weaken it or just do good damage to it, and they have to kind of figure out where they which Pokemon would be best positioned to do so without fearing too much from their supporting cast. And I think the other key for them is that the damage output needs to be consistent. And the reason why I'm saying this is because the Celebis have a lot of disruption, screens, and even healing from something like Comfy.
Mm-hmm.
So it's hard to just like calc, I'm gonna calc to Oko something.
Like
you can't really,
yeah.
you can't really rely on that. So you just have to kind of keep pushing and keep like churning out damage every turn, so that you don't get caught up in the kind of defensive tactics that the Celebis have. I guess conversely for the Celebis, the key for them is not to go all in on Palkia, and they've traded up for more aggressive options to try and do that. So they also need the strong damage output from the supporting cast to chip the key threats on the XMM side. And I guess given the nature of their team and the tools that they have, I wouldn't be surprised if they tried to play to timer. So which goes back to my comment about XMM, like they can't let themselves fall behind in churning out damage, or else they just lose to timer.
I see. I think I can foresee that this is one of the games that will go to timer. If like they go to like game 3, the game 3 is also going to go to timer.
Yeah, something like that. Yeah.
And yeah, there's also this interesting Seals Paper Stone. I feel like the star of Celebi's team might not just be the Palkia, it can also be the Melmetal as well. So Xerneas really has to work hard to cover their bases, because right now, like adding the Riolu on the team certainly helps the Melmetal sort of do like get a better matchup against the Xerneas team, especially when most of their strong hitters into Melmetal might be physical, right? Like Garchomp, Buzzwole. Then using Riolu to coaching will certainly make the Melmetal very difficult to take down. Yeah, I think I'll be very interested to see how this best of 3 plays out. Yeah. Okay, so that's all. Second matchup. Good luck to you guys. Finally, you guys can play in Asia-friendly timing. Okay, next one. Yo, my team, Infernapes, going up against the 4th seed from Rose Group, Puff Puff Pass. It's interesting, I totally forgot
Oh,
that Puff Puff Pass made...
this slide is wrong. That's
Oh
the
yeah,
Primarinas team.
Primarinas team. Okay, give me 1 minute to fix this. All we're gonna do is take Puff Puff Pass's team and then put it here. Wait, is it behind? No, it's not behind. Damn. Wow, good catch. Change size. Okay. Then for Puff Puff Pass's journey, oops, sorry. I didn't remember their trades. So they actually traded Toxapex away to pick up Scentiscorch because Pokepals traded away their Scentiscorch. But Scentiscorch hasn't been seeing much use on Puff Puff Pass's end. Puff Puff Pass usually center their dynamics around Metagross and Lunarigas. And then lastly, trading away the Latias into Raikou, I think that's really a good step up for their team. So let's see how things play out. And then Infernapes, we've been trying to think of what to trade, but then we look to the B tiers, and then I really think we didn't really want to give up our Wigglytuff because of that the typing, the normal and fairy type. It kind of helps our team quite a bit. So yeah, going forward, I think we might also be protected against the Lunarigas if he always wants to go for Max Phantasm, so even having this Wigglytuff will still be useful. Therefore, we couldn't find something good to trade, and we are the only team in playoffs that didn't make any trades. Okay, Andrew, do you have any notes? So honestly, we haven't talked about the matchup yet, so this is just like us looking at things in fresh eyes. We're also trying to maintain sort of keep things neutral, right? Like not trying to side either team.
Yeah. I guess technically I'm a third party looking into this, technically speaking. But I think on paper the Raikou and the Metagross, they seem like really strong picks into the Infernapes. I think it'll be tough to stop, let's say, a Bulldoze and then Max Metagross combo. And
even Shadow Sneak, I think Shadow Sneak Metagross will be scary also.
Yeah, right. So it's I mean, Metagross is just a really good Pokemon overall, and the way, at least in previous weeks, the way that the Infernapes have tried to stop really offensive teams was to be able to kind of, lower their stats, which you can't do with the Metagross. Set up Skarmory, which Raikou will not give Skarmory any time to set up at all. So it's really tricky. I think the biggest threat from Infernapes might be Sandaconda, but it's easily slowed down by Puff Puff Pass, especially because they have an Intimidate user in Scrafty.
Mm-hmm.
So I think on paper the matchup looks trickier for Infernapes. And I guess before chat says anything about us not playing the matchup again, there are tools for both teams to consider, right? So I think the 3 big max options from Puff Puff Pass that the Infernapes need to be concerned about are definitely Metagross. Even TZ is actually quite scary to an extent. And then in Trick Room, Lunarigas, if the switches aren't good or the positioning of the Pokemon aren't good, then Lunarigas can also run through the team. So it's really just about finding the right positioning to threaten Puff Puff Pass's supporting cast before they can set up.
True.
Right, and being able to slow down the main max option. And again, Puff Puff Pass, they're also not the team to just Dynamax turn 1. So they also know they need to play this carefully and not overcommit, or else the Infernapes can easily take advantage of teams that overcommit.
Yeah.
And I think for the Puff Puff Pass, if they look at the Infernapes games, it's really just understanding what are the possible tricks that the Infernapes can do to slow down the main Max Mons. And as I said, just being careful around that. And as they diversify their offensive options, then like it's hard for the Infernapes to prep for everything. So if they have a diverse set of options, it's to their advantage in the best of 3.
Yeah, I think this will be interesting game in a best of 3. Yeah. Oh, right, I forgot about Celebi's favorite Asian player, Wendell from US. Yeah, okay, so you guys still have to find a way to work around it. Yeah. Then Bapis is from Puff of Pass. He's saying,
Yeah.
we also have to respect Belly Drum, huge power, Meryl. Yeah.
Well, we're gonna get
With
swept by Mara.
Folders, oh dear. Yeah, this certainly looks like I didn't really look at the matchup until now, and I think this looks pretty tough for the Infernapes side. So, yeah, it's down to, I think, sort of getting creative, right? Like what we've always been trying to do, try and overcome the matchup. However, instead of taking one game, we have to work hard to take 2 games out of 3. So this seems like an uphill like task for us to prep for this week. Yeah. Man, I really appreciate the Raikou trade right now.
Yeah, it's really strong.
Only thing Infernapes are missing is like a ghost type, right? Yeah, and then that will definitely make us worry going up against PZ. Okay, let's see how things go. So good luck to both teams. Good luck to Puff of Pass. Okay, nah, I don't think we'll sweep to... Yeah, this is an uphill battle. We're gonna fight hard. Okay, so yeah, speaking of Setsuku, nice timing. Our final matchup would be Martin Solrocks versus Rapidazz. Solrocks generally a very good performance throughout, going 7-1. Rapidazz can easily go 7-1, however they conceded 1 week, so they're actually 6-2, but it's not very telling of their ability and their performance. And additionally, they do have this sort of element of surprise going into playoffs, which is something that we totally didn't expect as organizers, because because the Rapidazz traded Jinx, like traded their Liepard into Jinx. Wait, I'm gonna try and recall. Okay, so Zacian into Dialga, and we saw them use Dialga. Politoed into Liepard, we also saw them use Politoed. Saw them use Liepard. Then Landorus into Jinx, and we haven't seen what the Jinx can do because they didn't play week 6 and week 8. And then Urshifu also. So Kingdra into Urshifu. We've always been seeing like Rapidazz trying to make use of Kingdra in the early weeks of regular season, but now they have this sort of element of surprise. They can do anything. They can come in with Urshifu single and you won't know what item it is, right? So this is something that is sort of new to all the rest of the teams. And then I think Shinotic hasn't really been used, so trading Shinotic into Rotom Fan, I guess that's fair. But then what I just want to say is that this lineup seems to be very new, and we can't use like previous matches and stats to sort of suss out what Galarian Rapidazz wants to do. So I think they are coming in with an element of surprise. Whereas on the Solrocks side, they made like very minor changes to their team because most of their strong hitters and the ones that always come into the games have not been traded away. So I think Solrocks are just trying to improve on their team, and that's very impressive. Swapping the Klinklang into Slowbro Galar and then Zatu into Rapidash. I think this can be sort of useful for them going forward. So this seems to be sort of new, right, for both teams. They can't really look to previous games to find out what these teams want to try and do. So this seems like a fresh matchup. Yeah, I guess that's what I can say, like looking at things at a glance. Yeah. What notes do you have for in terms of like the specifics of the matchup.
Yeah. I think Deaga looks really hard to stop, but the Solrock have multiple options and tools, so it's not too bad. But I mean, we just have to respect the power of Deaga, and I think its typing is just really good. Urshifu single was also a really good pickup by the Rapidazz and will likely be a very big problem for the Solrock given who's on the team. So in terms of what they need to do, so let's start with the Solrock. Preparing multiple game plans will be key. So they've shown that they have a diverse set of strategies that they've used in previous weeks. And they've, as you said, they've kept most of their core. So I think when they're prepping now for a best of 3, they would need to have, in a way, you're constrained now because you're only gonna get to bring one like team, like one rental, one paste, and within that paste, you still need to have the diversity of options that you've had in the previous weeks, and somehow those options need to gel together well. I think that's the challenge that they have for them. The second one is maintaining speed control for their supporting cast. If you look at the support Pokemon from the Rapidazz side, most of them are fast. Pheromosa, Liepard, Jinx, all very fast. Versus some of the bulkier but slower support ones from the Martin Solrock. So the scary part there is that your supporting casts are not going to be able to get off the moves that they need to. So if they can somehow get speed control back from Rapidazz, that would put them in a better shape and hopefully give them enough momentum to go on the offensive. For the Rapidazz side, I think game 1 is crucial for them. They need to be able to get as much information as they can from whatever Solrock has on their team, so that they can identify what is the biggest threat to Deaga and then act accordingly. And also based on some of the games that we've seen them play with Deaga, they have to find the right balance between playing defensive with the Deaga because of the kind of shenanigans that can be expected from the other team, and also knowing when is the right time to committing it to max so that they don't get timer stalled because they, given how let's say how bulky some of the Solrock Pokemon are, it could they could find a way to try and take it to timer. So it's kind of on the Rapidazz to go on the offensive and make sure that they just don't overlook any tricks that end up making them lose their momentum.
True. In terms of like power levels on paper, it does seem like Solrocks are sort of the weaker team here. They do have an uphill battle ahead of them. Then this is also Solrock's first time going up against Gotorita / Gotitel, because in Rose group seems to be pretty like smooth sailing, like not having to deal with like quite oppressive teams or teams that have very strong strategies. So I think they really need to play very hard, make sure their mons are always bulky enough to survive the onslaught from Rapidazz. Damn, that's very very interesting. And then in hindsight, looking at Rapidazz's traits, at first like Zacian, Politoed, Kingdra seems to be super powerful and super stable, but I really think that they are just working very hard, week in and week out, to improve their team. And this lineup is so scary going into playoffs. Yeah, this first matchup already looks like sort of quite favorable into Rapidazz side because of their traits. Like if they had Zacian, Politoed, Kingdra, then this matchup would have been, more or less even. Especially when
I
Solrocks
agree.
had the Gastrodon on their side. So very well played on the Rapidazz, and like I said, they're really in it to win it. Using our system of traits fully to their advantage. Yeah. And Keaton, thanks for joining. And Keaton's always Keaton's from Solrocks. Yeah, so he's always shouting Solrocks in chat. Yeah, good luck to you guys. You guys really have to work hard to squeeze out this win, especially in a best of 3 format. So really, it can go either way, because if you're able to find out good information from Rapidazz side in the best of 3 and adapt, then yeah, even if yours, like maybe yours still game 1, then game 2 is really Rapidazz back against the wall, right? So yeah, fight hard for your wins. So yeah, at this point, there is no margin for error. Yeah, the winner will take all. So yeah, man, I'm really happy to finally get to this point, and I'm super excited to see how all these matches play out. To everybody who's listening and anyone who's watching my VOD after this, reminder to all playoffs teams, you have 2 players and each player has 4 mons, 1, 2, 3, 4 and A, B, C, D. In between matches, so like after game 1 ends, remind each other, remind your opponent, if you want to remain player 1 in the player 1 slot and player 2 in the player 2 slot, or do you want to swap? Like A, B, C, D.
Are you allowed to swap?
Yes. A, B, C, D, 1, 2, 3, 4, you can swap. Yeah. This hasn't been done in the league that I'm following, but I discussed with the council, and then we want to make things interesting and then sort of make this into an experiment and see how this works. So this is going to add a level of complexity into the game, and I think it can go both ways, because like it can maybe give certain teams an edge, and then it can also like give like weaker teams sort of an avenue to try and adjust and fight back for game 2, you know, like if you lose game 1. What do you think? I thought I told you before.
Yeah, you told me. I just didn't know what the final decision was. I think it was still
I
under
see.
consideration. Yeah. So now that it's confirmed, that's super spicy. I think it's more relevant probably for teams that plan to be quite offensive. For the defensive teams, doesn't matter quite as much, because what really happens is you change the possibilities of what can Dynamax on turn 1.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
But if you plan to really be switching around, it's just gonna change the turn order a bit, and it will probably depend on who the opponent is gonna max on turn 1. So it gives probably more offensive teams some interesting options in the best of 3. You know, max something from the player A slot in the first game, and then max something in player B slot second game.
Yeah, let's see how things play out. This is certainly going to be very spicy and interesting. So, wow, Solrocks are confident. Nah, we got this. Yeah, so good luck to everyone. That's all for our week 8 recap stream, sort of like a roundup for regular season. Once again, congratulations to our teams that won the participation prizes. Yeah, and over here for these 8 teams, good luck to your matches and all the best for your prep. Then thanks also to Andrew for joining me. That was good. We did everything within 1.5 hours. Yes.
Yeah. Yeah, we did it. 1.5 hours.
So well presented also. If I do say so myself.
Yeah. Nice slides.
Humble
I should give you see you know that meme where there's like Barack Obama giving a medal to himself?
Oh, no, I didn't see that one. Cool.
No, that's funny. Yeah.
Thanks for joining, Beppis. Yeah. Cool. Okay, I think I would have ended the YouTube segment like somewhere. I think I'll pause somewhere. Yeah. But yeah, thanks to everyone for joining the stream chat, right? Like making things very lively.